Hello everybody and welcome back to Victoria, where we are very close to the end of the game here. So this is almost certainly going to be the final episode, but we have hit 6 million on our GDP. That is a significant improvement from where we were. No doubt about that. So we just finished up our oil rig in Ohio here. So that's going to hire in and provide us with more oil production. This is as much oil production as we can get with our current land. So that's absolutely understood. Now we are a little bit negative in our bureaucracy, and we should do something about this, actually. I think we have to build another government administration to generate more bureaucracy at this point. So I'm going to do that here in Indiana. That'll be fine. I'm going to queue that up at the top of the list. That'll be done in 6 weeks. It will hurt our bottom line, but it's, I think, fairly necessary. I'm just looking at this here and I'm thinking, yeah, we've got the trade routes. Actually, let's take a look at our trade routes quick. Do we have any problematic ones? This import route of engines, actually. We can ditch that. That didn't save us any bureaucracy. Export route of fertilizer. That didn't save us bureaucracy. Export route of grain and sugar. That saved us a little bureaucracy. We're still net negative. So I still want to build this government administration then. Okay. A California uprising, huh? Okay. Well, that's all very spicy, I'm sure. So that seems fine for now. We have a transportation shortage in Ohio, an electricity shortage in Michigan and Minnesota. So the one in Minnesota I don't think is a major issue. This power plant just needs to hire in people, and for that, of course, we need people. However, Michigan might be a bigger problem. What do we got going on there? Actually, this is maxed out, but I do see that there is a private construction of the power plant in Michigan. So that's actually really convenient. We would have probably had to stop our current construction and deal with that if that private construction wasn't there. That's great. So that seems fantastic. We're going to get this government administration in. We don't need the full government administration, and this is going to cost us, but that's fine for the moment. So we'll get that going. Our investment pool is currently net positive. Note that we're currently slightly net negative at this moment. I'm okay with that. That's going to go more net negative with the wages from that government administration. But you can see right away our bureaucracy was significantly improved, and that will mean that our unrealized taxes won't be as bad. It's still going to be kind of bad due to our radicalism, although our radicalism has been steadily on a downturn. We could think about a tax cut. Trade agreement. Yeah, sure. Trade agreement with the US is absolutely fine for right now. Excellent. Bulgarian pops becoming more loyalist? Yes, please. We could use as many loyalists as we can get. So that sounds great. Now, we're currently working on this tooling workshop. That'll be done in 19 weeks at this time. Yeah, so that's going to take a little while. Our investment pool is net positive. Our personal finances are not really personal. Our national finances are slightly negative. So we need to grow a little bit more at this point, although it's not much. And we'll see what happens with universal suffrage here. We're rolling kind of awkwardly on it. We might want to start thinking about moving to proportional taxation. Although, we should keep in mind, the end of the game is very soon. I will keep playing beyond the end of the game for this episode, but this is almost certainly going to be the final episode of this series. So that is absolutely fine. So this election is going to be in 138 days. That's understood. You can see here our expensive goods are tools, automobiles, and engines. We're working on all of those. What's this debate? Enactment success chance. Done. Beautiful. So we're starting to build up some success chance here. That's a good sign. I'm very happy. So this tooling workshop is going to be done in 12 weeks at this point. Once that's finished, that will help the price of tools, which will reduce the price of automobiles and engines a little bit, but we do need to get more production on both of those, which is why this motor industry in Wisconsin is here. So that is absolutely fine for now. Now, checking in on our population here, we can see we do still have 34.2k peasants, so we're working on that, but that number is trending downward. That looks good. And our annual projected pop growth still sitting at about 40k. That number has been relatively flat. This is probably due to our radicalism, and I'm reasonably okay with this. The radicalism is slowly going to drift downward over time, in theory. What's our legitimacy? 75? It's not ideal, but it'll do. Okay, so that sounds good for now. Submarine has been unlocked, not like we care. And democratic solidarity, huh? Momentum to the Liberal Party? I mean, it's fine. That's a lot of momentum. Okay. 234%. The Liberal Party has been in control for a very long time, and we've been pretty okay with it. Although I wouldn't mind, well, who would support switching over to proportional taxation? Because that would be slightly better for us. It'd be mostly the trade unions. And maybe that's something that we can do after this election. If we can get the trade unions in power, then that would be great. Are the trade unions supporting universal suffrage? Yes. Yes, they are. Okay, so that's good to know. There's that hardwood shortage again. This is primarily caused by there just not being enough people in Minnesota. You can see that our logging camp here, it's barely producing anything. We just don't have enough people here working the jobs. And so everybody shuffles around to whatever's the highest paying at the moment, and it's not ideal. However, we are growing by 3k, so we're slowly working on getting these jobs filled out. We've got almost 100,000 people in Minnesota now, so that's definitely making some amount of progress. We did just finish up this tooling workshop, so that is fantastic. Where is that in here? Here it is. So that's hiring in right now, and we can see that's currently affected by the shortage of electricity. So this production is going to get better. Current penalty is 5%. Okay. So that's not a huge penalty at this moment. So that's fine for right now. So yeah, we're maxing out our tools again, our tool production. This is going to get 5% better. That's not terrible. Our pricing will be okay, but it's not at a position where we're comfortable with it yet. I think let's check in on job seekers here. Okay, so I want to queue up an additional tooling workshop in Michigan. I'm doing this after our motor industry in Wisconsin. I'm not comfortable with it in the future, but it's okay for now. Enactment time, sure. I guess that's fine. So this election is going to be going through, and that's absolutely understood. So currently, the price of iron, wood, and grain are all very low. I'm okay with that. We can see that we're a little bit more negative financially at this moment. The Liberal Party has won, as we would expect. And the question is, do we want to put the trade unions in here? That would bring us all the way down to 47 on our legitimacy. I think we have to stay where we are. Kind of unfortunate, but I think that's absolutely the case. So we finished up our private construction of the power plant over here in Michigan. That's great. We can see that we are hiring people in over here, and the price of electricity is dropping, which of course means that our output of tools is dropping, or rather improving. But not only tools, that should also affect our motor industries here. But we definitely still need more motor industry production. No doubt about that. That's for sure. So our tooling workshop appears to be slightly overproducing at this time. That's fine. This is what we want it to be doing. But this is not going to be a long-term situation. So we're definitely going to want another tooling workshop in the near-ish future, but not necessarily immediately. So let's check in here. These export routes are fine. This one, not so much. And we can keep our fertilizer domestically for now. We have to import the fish. We have no option on that. We shouldn't have to import the fish, but we do have to. So that's fine. And exporting these artillery, I'm okay with that. We don't have any domestic demand for artillery, so we might as well have a little bit, right? So enactment success chance, sure. That's bringing us up to 40% on universal suffrage. So that sounds fine. And we see next a fertilizer plant in Michigan. Okay, I'm not too fussed about that. It's okay. Like, producing more fertilizer is not a terrible thing. Definitely not. It's not something that I would consider terribly high priority right now, although the price on fertilizer is... actually, that's not that bad. Productivity is pretty up there, so... This is actually the number 5 most productive fertilizer plant in the world? Well, okay then. So that's spicy. We're up to 6.5 million on our GDP now, so that looks fantastic. We've cracked the top 50 in our GDP, and we're number 8 in GDP per capita. That's looking good. In standard of living, we're number 11. In literacy, we're number 12. We're just about in the top 10 in a lot of these. Not population, but in a lot of these metrics. So that's looking really, really good. I'm very pleased about that. We're going to get this motor industry done in 13 weeks, and we can see that investment pool slowly drifting upward. This is good. We are happy about that. This means that we're going to be able to continue investing heavily. And we've definitely seen privatization coming in. I'm actually going to cut taxes here because we've got a lot of gold in the reserve. Cutting taxes, not a terrible idea. So that looks good. That should drive our standard of living even higher. If we look here, we can see only Minnesota has a standard of living issue right now. A day at the printers, huh? Wait, is this only a one-time? For a 2,500 pounds, one time for a 10% enactment success chance. That's not bad. Do it. I don't mind that one time. If that was every week, it would be a problem. But one time? Sure. We'll take the enactment success chance. We're now up to a 50% success chance, and we haven't rolled a single success roll yet. Hopefully that changes. So for now, how are we doing on that motor industry? Well, we're 8 weeks away. Also, the game is about to end. And like I said, we're going to keep going in overtime for a little bit here. That's absolutely fine, but the game is going to end very, very soon. So there's the Victorian century. Excellent. There's the game over. And we can see, look at that GDP. It is absolutely hilarious. The Great Britanization here barely looks like a blip, honestly. You can see it here, too, from our standard of living drop, our prestige drop. Population didn't really change all that much from it, although we did see a series of mass exoduses over here. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. But we're going to keep going for now. And we're going to, of course, play as Tecumseh. So we're going to keep going until the end of this episode in a little bit of extra overtime here. So that'll be absolutely fine. I have had issues if you go too far in overtime with the game wanting to crash, but that's not going to be an issue with just this. So that's absolutely fine here. Let's get this motor industry built, and we're currently working on researching the steam turbine. We're pretty far behind in technology. I want to be clear about that. We should be further along in tech than this. We just didn't have the money. Like, this was a tough economic situation to be in. No doubt about it. I think ultimately the way to play this would have been to leverage Britain on the US and aggressively expand into the United States. I don't like playing Victoria as a war game. Now, that's just what it comes down to. I don't like it. I like playing it as an economic and political game. I just think it's more fun that way. I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but that's my opinion on it. So the motor industry here is finishing up in Michigan. So that is absolutely fantastic. We're now working on expansion of our tooling workshop again here. And if we take a look at the motor industry here in Michigan, this is specifically on the price of engines. So hang on. We built this in Wisconsin. This is the price of engines and automobiles. Yeah, so we're hiring in here. We see our productivity dropping a little bit. So I don't think that we really need to expand this. I'm wondering if we're going to hire in on this week tick Yes. Okay, so we're pretty maxed out here on our motor industry employment. Prices look relatively stable where they're at right now. So I think that looks pretty good. So what are we interested in expanding after this tooling workshop is something that we need to be asking. And the answer is clothing or automobiles again, actually. Okay. So automobiles would be the way to go, I think. We would need to go into here and just build in Wisconsin again. I'm putting this at the end of the queue. And then we could maybe build a textile mill. We've got one in Michigan and one in Minnesota. Let's expand the one in Michigan for now. We know we have job seekers out over there. What's our population looking like over here? Pop growth of 12.9K. We've got people migrating in, and we've got 720,000 people in Michigan right now. It is by far our most populous state. Okay. So that's not terribly shocking, considering this has been kind of the economic center of our society here. So that's not terribly shocking. So we've currently got queued up here a tooling workshop, a motor industry, a textile mill. This will probably take us to the end of the series, to be honest. So that looks okay. We're at minimum taxes right now, and we're sinking 5K per week at the moment. But to be honest, we're net positive with our privatizations. So that seems fine. We're working on a power plant in United Indian, Ohio being privatized. Okay. So spending more money is fine. We're going to cap out soon. Our last two rolls here have been success rolls on universal suffrage, so that looks great. And we're also about to finish up this fertilizer plant in Michigan. Now, we're going to make a maize farm there next. Ah, there's a furniture manufactory in the private construction queue. That's an interesting choice, actually, because we know that wood is struggling right now, right? If we go into our logging camps here, we can see that hardwood is expensive, but wood itself is not. Boosting the price of wood would probably make this camp more productive and give us fewer hardwood shortages. It's just our demand isn't high enough right now. So building a furniture manufactory in the private construction, that's not a bad concept. I actually rather like that. That seems neat. So that's okay for now. We're almost up to 7 million. We are going up very sharply at this point. So that's perfect. We're at 92.8% literacy. That seems wonderful. And our population is still growing at about 40K. It's been pretty steady there for now. So that's not necessarily ideal, but it's understood. Okay, so we got another debate here. This is fine. We're up to a 60% success chance now, and we're in voting. So this is almost certainly going to pass. We can get 2 more setbacks as well. Well, 1 more setback. So that's almost certainly going to pass. That looks good. Our gold reserves continue to go up from privatization. We're working on power plants in Michigan expansion. Is that something that is truly needed right now? It's not terrible. I wouldn't consider this a high priority construction at this moment, but it would be a future-proofing one. I don't hate that. Okay, so our tooling workshop in Michigan is going to be done in just 2 weeks here, and then we can get that additional motor industry going. So that looks fantastic for the moment. If you look at our standard of living, it continues to go up. We're number 8 in the world now in our average. So that looks amazing. I'm very, very happy about that. Literacy is number 12. And our GDP is number 48. But our GDP per capita, which is the number that I'm actually interested in here, is number 5. So the steam turbine has been unlocked, giving us a new production method for our power plants. And that's not bad. So we could check in on the price of coal right now. So coal is actually the most sought after thing in our nation at this moment. So if we were to switch that over, that's going to raise the price of coal significantly. Okay. So we could build more coal mines. This is absolutely an option. So this would be 82 coal per level. And if we changed our production method to a coal-fired plant, this would be 30. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. And our current balance is, I believe it said minus 87. So that would be 267 overall. So what's 267 divided by 82? Hang on. 267 divided by 82 is 3.25. So we would need roughly 4 levels of coal mines. I mean, that's pretty doable. I'd probably... How many jobs per coal mine is this? This is 3250. So yeah, we could build like 2 in each of these locations, in Illinois and Indiana. Something like that. That would be overwhelming our current coal requirements, to be clear. Okay, sure, we'll take that. That sounds good. So this is going to be a little too much, and I want to do a coal mine first. That was not what I wanted it to do. Let's do that. There we go. And then something like this. So we're going to work on that coal mine immediately. But I do want to come in and start switching some of these over, specifically in the locations that produce coal. So that's in these 2 locations, right? So let's switch this over for now to a coal-fired plant. And then we're going to switch this to a coal-fired plant. This is not... Actually, I'm going to do all of them. This is not necessarily going to create an input goods shortage because we don't necessarily have all of these... And yes, I'm aware of that. We don't necessarily have all of these in a situation where they're fully maxed out, right? So that's understood. We're going to switch those over. We're going to let good substitution happen. And we'll see what this ends up at. Minus 202. It's not quite an input goods shortage. I'm expecting this price to continue to shift, though. Indeed. So if we check in on our current coal mine here, there is some room for expansion there. There isn't here. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this coal mine in Indiana. So there's universal suffrage. Sounds good. I would love to think about... Hang on. Righteous Government 99. Okay. I would love to think about going for proportional taxation. No one is interested in this, so we can't do that at this moment. In fact, there's very little we can actually do. We could try to go for multiculturalism. That would be hard RNG. The odds on that are extraordinarily low. We could try to do protected speech. This would be pretty RNG here. It's a theoretical possibility. We could try to go for it. Okay, so that seems fine for now. But this is not going to pass before the end of the series. I'm 99.9% certain. So that sounds good. As we continue to have our income improve here, we find ourselves in a position where we want to spend more money. We have a couple of options. We can expand our construction. And I feel like that's a good option. Not enough qualifications. It would happen probably eventually. I do feel like this is a pretty good option. The other option would be to increase our government spending. But let's get this done quick here, and that will help us build a little bit faster towards the end of this game. So that seems fine. We're going to get 4 weeks more construction time there, and this is going to boost up our total construction output pretty significantly. So that seems good. We're finally able to start ramping up some of this. It's taken us a long time to get to this point. But we're in a good spot now, finally. It took us, well, pretty much a century. We would have gotten here a fair amount faster, like around here or so, would be my guess, just based on the curve, if the Great Britanization hadn't have happened. But it did, so that set us back probably 20 years. It was pretty significant. But I think we're in a stronger position than we would have been without it, to be clear. So I'm not upset that it happened in the slightest. In fact, I think it was ultimately a good thing. Painful in the moment, to be sure. But in the end, I think it was good. So we immediately stalled here. That's not ideal. Okay. So we chose to sacrifice our bureaucracy there. That's absolutely fine. I'm not too concerned about that. So we're going to continue working on this coal mine production, and I want to check in here. Yeah, there's an electricity shortage in Ohio. This is probably affected by coal. 24% and 31%. It's actually more affected by engines than it is coal. Okay, I'm actually going to cancel this coal mine expansion then, too. Not that we're going to get to it, because it is time to put a cut in here, which means it's time to put this series to rest. We have completed the game, and we found ourselves in a far, far, far better position than we were at the beginning of this series. No doubt about it. This is a terrible position. We only had like 50k population, and our GDP was hot garbage, and we had no buildings and no income. It was rough. No doubt about it. It was really, really rough. But we're in a good position now. So I'm very pleased with that. We debated here. What do we get from that? Sure. We'll back the Great Medicine Society. It's fine. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.